I realize this is a bit unorthodox, but I would like to start up this sort of rant that serves as a impromptu, very much unscripted review with a number. That number being $12.99, which is the price of the Little Acre off of Steam. Notice that it has already a 15% discount off of that price. Considering this game has been out for only a month, by the time this review comes up, that should have already served as alarming bells going on in my brain, but it didn't, so okay, that's my fault. But regardless, this is basically $13 or more, if there was not a discount, for a game that, for all intents and purposes, should not cost that much. And I'll get to that. First of all, some basic information to contextualize my rant. The Little Acre is a visually stunning, graphic adventure point-and-click adventure game developed by Ireland-based studio Pewter Games, I'm stopping that right now, with the association of Charles Cecil, which is better known for the studios that provided games such as Beneath a Steel Sky and Broken Sword. So we are talking about a veteran of the European scene when it comes to graphic adventure games. So regardless, this game is possibly one of the best looking games I've ever laid eyes upon. It is most certainly the best game of its own kind in terms of really visually stunning beauty, the quality of the hand-drawn animated characters and the painted backgrounds. They exude so much detail and careful craftsmanship that one cannot help but be astounded and delighted by it all. To be honest, that was the main selling point of the game for me personally. Me being a big animation fan and having only relatively recently discovered the potentially rich and interesting animation scene of Ireland with Tom Moore's films, specifically Song of the Sea and Secret of Kells. So really, that again was a major selling point for me. Like I said, it is very aesthetically pleasing, and it is clear that the animators and the designers of this game really put a lot of attention into the presentation department. For example, they even went into the very time-consuming trouble of animating single particles of dust in one of the initial rooms of the game. That is definitely something worth praising. And I want to make this as clear as possible. This game is beautiful to look at. It is one of the best looking indie developed traditionally animated games I've seen in quite some time or ever. But beyond that, there is really not much else to this game. In fact, even calling it a game seems rather generous, considering that what you get doesn't even feel like a proper completed game or a proper completed story that flows through the game itself. This brings me to my major gripe about this game, which is its length. Specifically, its length compared to the price of admission. Again, I bring you up $12.99 on Steam, $12 off of GOG.com, but still, I've beaten this game in less than 2 hours. I paid $13 for a game that's beatable in 2 hours. Yeah, you can see that might be a problem. I'm going to be honest with you. Even if I wouldn't be inclined to complain about the length of the game versus its price, the length of the game actually is damaging to the appreciation of the overall experience, because it does not give you the time to properly enjoy whatever story it's trying to tell, that it rushes you through every single scenario as fast as it can, ultimately bringing you to a highly unsatisfying ending because you did not have the proper chance to get a full grasp of what the world is all about, what the themes are all about, what the characters are, and what they contribute to the story and their arcs and everything. What you get with this game is not a full, complete story. You get a cliff-noted, abridged version of one. It has potential, but it feels like it's rushed. It feels like it is incomplete. It had too many cuts, or is basically a recap or summarization of a game provided by some filler recap episode of a show, to give you an analogy. It's dejecting, that's what it is. And it is even more dejecting because I paid $13 for a game that doesn't feel like it's actually a complete game. It feels like a demo. It feels like various little pieces of a story just glued together, the bullet points of a story, if you will, without any of the developing moments for said story. And the flow of the game, the pacing overall, is damaged because of that. Like, for example, I do appreciate the fact that the puzzles in this game are streamlined to allow the story to be properly developed. I appreciate the fact that the puzzles and the various item retrieval and using of said item to something to solve a puzzle that allows you to continue with the story of the game, they have been all streamlined as much as possible to allow the story to remain the main focus. A problem with way too many adventure games is that they take you to a wild goose chase to get something done in order to advance to a next area, and whatever story the game should be telling you gets lost in the shuffling of complete nonsense. Ironically, with the Little Acre, we are actually facing the extreme opposite of that spectrum, in that the puzzles are ridiculously easy and so streamlined that it almost feels like they shouldn't even be there. And it's not like the very accessible nature of the puzzles is helping the story flow, because like I said before, the story doesn't feel it's there. Again, it feels there are snippets of a complete story, but all we get is a cliff-noted version of a story. And because of that, there is nothing of the actual game and the story of the game. I said story too many times, bear with me, this is all unscripted. There's nothing that remains with you at the end of it. At the end of it, in fact, all that this adventure is just really something pretty and well animated, something very artistically fulfilling to look at, but with no substance behind it. All the potential that it might have, all that it could possibly commune to you as a player, as a reader, as a viewer, as a fruitor of good storytelling, all of that is lost in the various cliff notes, in the various just bullet point presentation that the Little Acre is, as opposed to what it could have been if it had a few more hours added to it. Even 2 more hours would have been nice. Instead, you get a game that you can just easily complete in less than 2 hours. Regardless if you're a seasoned veteran of the genre or you're not. Again, this might be a good introduction to a neophile of adventure games, but not at the price of $12.99 or more if there was not a discount. I'm so sorry to say this to an indie developer, especially since they are so good at what they do, which is animating and not game design, I have to say it, but this feels like a complete ripoff. This is a ripoff. What you get is ultimately not worth the price of admission. Or heck, even if this was not a game and just an animated feature, a really good-looking animated feature, you would not pay $13 to watch it, because it's a ripoff. And because of that, I cannot in good conscience recommend this game to anyone unless they lower the price to less than $5. In that case, it's definitely worth checking out, just because, again, it's really nice to look at. And I guess that's that. I am Madhog Thy Master, and I played $5 games that are longer than this one. Bye!